Recently, I stumbled on a video in which CNN's Fareed Zakaria appeared to take a really strong swipe at Donald Trump over his recent announcement of a travel ban which involved Nigeria and one or two other African countries and some other Middle Eastern countries. And the focus of this video was basically to whip up sentiment of Nigerians against Donald Trump, because he tried to explain why Trump's ban on Nigerians didn't make any sense and stuff like that, even though the US had said this is why we did what we did. And when I saw that video, the first thing that came to my mind was, this is the same CNN that has been keeping quiet, the CNN that has remained silent the whole time up to this day, despite Nigeria deteriorating and degenerating into the hub of terrorist activities in Africa. In fact, the #1 hub of terrorist activities in which Christians are massacred at an unprecedented rate. There is no other place on the face of the planet where Christians are massacred in the way and manner they are massacred in Nigeria. You would never see any of that on CNN. This is the same CNN that appeared to have relocated to Nigeria under President Jonathan, when Jonathan was actually effectively fighting the terrorists and was beating them hands down.
He's telling a side of the war we never hear, what it's like to be a soldier fighting Boko Haram.
You're not issued the kits, you buy the kits yourself.
You have to buy the uniform and the kit yourself?
Yes, you buy them. I bought mine myself.
That's incredible.
Yes.
There are thousands of troops stationed in this town, and there are many more stories like the soldiers we're talking to. His morale rock bottom. Things were about to get worse. The army won't pay for the drugs, even though you got your injury fighting Boko Haram.
They not pay for the drug.
We asked a senior government official about these shortcomings. He said that he would look into it. Why don't the generals see this morale problem and think about giving you better weapons to win the fight?
CNN appeared to have actually been provoked by his successes against the terrorists, and they were on ground trying to undermine every effort he was making. At the time that the terrorists have now gained an upper hand and are now massacring the citizens of Nigeria, CNN does not want to hear that anybody is against the status quo in Nigeria. Fareed Zakaria, whoever wants to go to equity must go with clean hands. What is the basis on which you want to tell us about Donald Trump travel ban on Nigeria when your network is almost like a silent motivation to the killings that is going on in Nigeria? Because as long as you are not able to talk about it, you don't want to do anything that has to do with the killing in Nigeria, you are more like an accomplice. You are more like aiding and abetting the killing going on in Nigeria. We know how big you guys are, even though you are fake news. Yet, you have refused to talk about what Nigerian Christians are going through. It's such a shame. Just at the point that we had been able to, motivate our people, to help them understand how good Donald Trump is and how important he is to the politics of Africa. Just at the point that our people were beginning to understand Donald Trump and what he means to us, CNN suddenly threw in Fareed Zakaria so that they will be able to make a mess of all the work we've been doing. And I want to put it to you that you have failed woefully, because today I am going to detail to my people and show them the things that Donald Trump has done for us in Africa, which CNN has failed to report because they are sadists at the CNN. I'm going to start with what happened in Sudan recently. After South Sudan gained their independence, everybody said, oh, now that you've gained your independence, you're not going to win, you're going to lose, you're going to collapse, this, that. And truly, they began to fight. South Sudan started fighting, warring against themselves, began to kill just like when they were still with the larger Sudan. Guess what? As I speak right now, a unity government is in place in South Sudan. Who made it happen? The United States government under President Donald J. Trump. Check it out in the news. Any news you want to read, go check it out. It's online. It's everywhere. Have you ever seen it on CNN? Nope. You will never see it on CNN. Today, the United States of America has withdrawn the aid they give to Cameroon because of the killing in Ambazonia. And they have put them on notice that America is watching and will act very soon. Who made that happen? The United States government under President Donald Trump. America also is intervening in Nigeria. You all saw the video when Buhari visited Trump. First visit to Donald Trump, and he openly spoke to the world, even when his aides, Buhari's aides, were trying to pressure him not to say anything like that. The man spoke to the world and said, you need to stop killing Christians in Nigeria. If you don't, America will do something about it. And he wasn't just boasting. From that time till today, Trump has sent the ambassador at large on religious liberty, Ambassador Brownback. He has sent him to Nigeria more than twice. He has sent other emissaries, different people, to go and get facts for him. He has also invited victims to the White House. He's invited different people to come and speak, to even speak to the Heritage Foundation, the conservative think tank. He has invited people who came to speak to the staff of Vice President Pence, just to seek peace in the same Africa. But CNN will have you believe that Trump just called Africa shithole. He doesn't like Africa. That's why he banned Nigerians, because he's jealous of Nigeria. We don't care. This is all you guys do. Talk, 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 talk. Where is the action? Zero. Nothing. Oh, this is what Trump said. This is what Trump didn't say. We don't care. Even if he wants to ban everybody from coming to America, we don't care. Let's stay back in Nigeria. If he's going to make Nigeria better for everybody, we stay there. If he's going to give the indigenous peoples of Nigeria freedom, we stay there. Why are we traveling abroad for? CNN, you have no shame. Something new just happened. Because the killing in Nigeria would not stop. The killing in Nigeria would not stop. You know what Donald Trump did? Donald Trump decided it was time for America to take a broader action. And the broader action they chose to take was that Trump admin just recently announced that they have formed a global alliance to defend religious liberty. This happened. You won't see it a lot in the news. Check it out. Just Google it. Look it up. It's on LifeSite News and so many other ones. CNN will never tell you that. Trump admin had actually formed a global alliance to defend religious liberties. And Nigeria was mentioned as one of the spots where the defense is going to take place. You think I'm joking, right? Nigeria was mentioned. I'm going to give you a list of the countries involved in that alliance. We have Albania, Austria, Bosnia, Brazil, Bulgaria, Colombia, Croatia, Czech Republic, Estonia, the Gambia, Georgia, Greece, Hungary, Israel, Kosovo, Lithuania, Malta, the Netherlands, Poland, Senegal, Slovakia, Slovenia, Togo, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom. United Kingdom grudgingly was dragged into it, because if you notice, the rest of the NATO allies from Western Europe, they did not get involved, because these are the people who had colonized Africa and are holding Africa down. These are the people who are the brains behind the Christian religious persecution going on, because the killings by the Fulani herdsmen are done at the instance of the colonial powers of Europe. That's why when Trump is forming a global alliance against religious persecution, they will not be a part of it. I had already done a video to tell you that United Kingdom only brought this new prime minister so that they can align him with Trump, because without aligning him with Trump, UK will collapse, because Trump had already vowed never to do anything with the EU as it is currently constituted, because the EU, as you see it today, is against Israel. That's why they had to pull away immediately from the EU. And Brexit happened because of Donald Trump. So you can see now UK is the only one from Western Europe that quickly joined the alliance. That's why the UK Prime Minister was also making a statement, say, oh, we're going to fight against religious. He doesn't really mean it. The only person who means it is Donald Trump. And in case you don't understand what this fight is going to look like, let me tell you the nature of this alliance, what they are capable of doing. There's a statement here, and it says the Declaration of Principles offers reactive and proactive measures for the members to use to protect freedom of religion around the world. Listen, let me read it again. It says the Declaration of Principles of this alliance actually offers reactive and proactive measures for the members to use to protect freedom of religion around the world. Reactive means something is happening somewhere. They went for intervention because something happened, so that's reactive. Proactive means they got an intelligence that something is about to happen, or that Boko Haram or whatever is killing too many people in some area. They can decide on their own to send soldiers to go there and intervene. Reactive and proactive measures. This is an alliance set up by Donald Trump to protect me and my people. And useless CNN is there telling me about visa ban or travel ban. Nonsense that I don't care about. But that's not all. I don't know how many of you know what happened just recently. Just recently, the United Nations has added ISIS with West Africa and ISIS Greater Sahara, ISIS-GS, to its terrorist designation. How many people know that? Because it's a fresh news. Do you know that the United Nations has now added ISIS West Africa, the same ones that are in Nigeria? They've added them into their own, they've designated them. Foreign troops are on their way to Nigeria in no time. Are you aware that the United States of America is the biggest sponsor of the UN? And so basically, most of what UN does, America has to dictate it. Because without the US, UN will probably go bankrupt. And so, from a political standpoint, Trump is planning intervention to save Christians. From a religious standpoint, which is the alliance, Trump is planning intervention. They're going to have the Global Alliance having boots on ground. They're going to have the UNAMSI, UN military guys, having boots on ground just to protect Christians by force. There is a video that is trending now at the United Nations meeting where a guy from the European Union artist was actually talking about the killing of Christians. You hardly ever hear that at the UN. It doesn't happen for the first time in a long while. They are now talking about the killing of Christians in Nigeria at the UN meeting because they are planning to come and intervene.
In Nigeria, children are the most vulnerable victims of the attacks being carried out by Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen. These groups have been known to attack churches, schools, and even resort to kidnapping Christian schoolgirls in order to marry them to Muslim men. Already this year, Fulani herdsmen have murdered over 6,000 Christians, many of whom are women and children. Reports indicate that since 2013, Boko Haram has abducted approximately 1,000 children in northeast Nigeria. These attacks and kidnappings have been carried out when kids are at school and are most exposed. It is estimated that Boko Haram has killed over 2,000 teachers and has destroyed more than 1,400 schools.
The same ISIS that has been designated by the United Nations. This is no longer when I used to make video and say, oh, according to the International Terrorism Index. No, this is no index. United Nations now. The same people are the ones that Buhari is sending planes to go and bring back from Niger into Nigeria. And they call them repentant terrorist men. Repentant Boko Haram and ISWAP. The repentant terrorists. When our people died in South Africa during the xenophobia problem of 2019, the president of Nigeria could not send any plane in official capacity to bring them. An individual businessman in Nigeria did that. Today, the president is sending plane to go and bring his repentant terrorists into Nigeria to reintegrate them into the society of Nigeria. People that we don't know what process on earth they are using to claim that they have rehabilitated them. These guys get first class treatment. They are even promised foreign education. But the people they kill every day and displace in their own homelands have become refugees in their lands. They are now living in IDPs. IDPs. Internally displaced persons camps. They live in IDP camps. In their own lands, displaced by the same people that you are calling repentant terrorists. And yet they don't have any food. It was recently I was reading through the news and I saw that there is actually an IDP in Benin, in Edo State. And I was wondering, Edo State is Midwest. I thought the war was happening in the north. I could not believe my eyes. IDP is actually existing in Edo State. Nobody talks about it. And the man was saying that if not for a rich man who came there to have his birthday and brought them cow and rice, that the children and the people there could not have been able to eat. They don't have food. They don't have anything. They live in squalor. But the people who came to dispossess them of their ancestral homelands and who killed them and destroyed them are being retrieved from the battlefront and then being given first-class treatment as repentant Boko Haram. Give them good feeding, good accommodation, even promise them that if they do well, that they can become presidents of Nigeria. Hello. How in the world did we end up here? And what CNN is more interested in is to come and tell me about Trump's travel ban, when Donald Trump is having this multi-pronged approach at rescuing me from the shackles and the jaws of death. You are not interested in even reporting it. You are here telling me about the ban. You guys are downright wicked, man. You are so demonic, CNN. I've never seen anything like you. And just in case you don't believe the things I'm saying, Trump has everything, all his plans put in place rightly to defend Christians, not only in Nigeria, in Africa, because what is happening in Nigeria is happening in Burkina Faso, is happening in a few other African countries. They're killing Christians like for free, like even better than they kill chickens. So there's this guy. His name is Mr. Grenell. He's Richard Grenell. Trump just appointed him as the Director of National Intelligence in the US. And everybody's wondering, why did Trump appoint him at this critical time? Because if you want to go for the type of mission that Trump is planning to rescue Christians around the world, whoever the forces are, they have to work together closely with the national intelligence, okay? And then Trump suddenly went and appointed a man. The name is very significant, and I will tell you why the name is very significant, because this is the same man who said to Nigerians, this is what the man said about Buhari, the man that Trump appointed as a Director of National Intelligence. Look at what he said about Buhari. He said, Mr. Buhari has spoken sympathetically about members of the terrorist group Boko Haram, has cautioned against a rush to judgment on its members, and has been personally selected by the terrorist group to lead its negotiations with the government of Nigeria. Mr. Grenell went further to say Mr. Buhari's election as Nigeria's head of state would be a disaster for Africa. It would also signal trouble for the West fight against ISIS and terrorism throughout the Middle East. The same man who said that Buhari's election as president will spell doom for not just Nigeria, but for the whole of West Africa, and that is going to affect the fight against ISIS by the Western world, and he also said that this is going to make America come into war or into a collision course with Nigeria, which is exactly what is about to happen now. The same man who predicted it many years ago, 2014, 2015, he predicted. The same ambassador is now appointed as the Director of National Intelligence in the US. As at the time of his appointment, he was the US ambassador to Germany. You think it's all a coincidence? It is not a coincidence. God has gone ahead of us to save us. And this is what can now explain to you why there's a lot of desperation in the camp of the Fulani herdsmen and the terrorists who are now doing everything to see if they can start the war quickly and take many places as much as they can. That's why you see the thing happening in Delta State. You see flashes of attacks everywhere. They are killing a lot now because they know that there is an international intervention that is coming. That's why one U.S. official was making a statement recently, and he cited the case that is going on in Owerri between Ihedioha and Uzodinma, and said that they are now waiting for the last chance to see what the judiciary will do to know whether this might be the best time for the intervention to be activated. Because in that case now, the moment they now rule against, because all of them now know that Uzodinma was the man, the fourth one in line, and they brought him forward to come and remove the person that was declared winner by INEC. Officially declared winner. So they're saying if that happens, it simply means that these people are not capable of governing themselves, that the whole system has collapsed. So it is the best time now for the intervention, international intervention, to be activated. You will see boots on ground. Foreign soldiers will flood everywhere in Nigeria. Write it down and put the date and say that I said so. This might be the trigger. If this is not the trigger, it could happen sooner than later. Who is behind all this? President Donald J. Trump, the man who speaks and he follows through with what he says. This is a white man to the core. His ancestors did not come from Africa. He does not have any bloodline or lineage traced to anywhere in Africa. But this is the one who will lose sleep just thinking about how to help Africans. What is his business if he decides not to help Africa? Nothing will happen. We had Obama, whose father came from Africa. What did he do? He placed a curse on Africans, placed a curse on Nigerians, on us, by giving us this presidency that we have today. They look at the man, full-blown white man, who should focus on America and maybe European allies or Israel. He is thinking about you and I. And I'm not talking about just thinking. He has put strong measures in place to make sure that we are not exterminated. Because he had said, I do not want the killing of Christians to go. Imagine if Trump did not come at this time. Mention one world leader anywhere in the world today who could have stood up for you and I, who could have just stuck out the neck for us. No one, not even one. CNN, go and rest with your shame. May God deal with you people in the measure that you have dished out lies and deception to the masses. You guys are not fit to be a news network of such a global significance. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. And so I want to encourage everybody, whoever you are, wherever you are on the continent of Africa, forget about what the news is telling you. Pray fervently and daily for Donald J. Trump. This is why most of these tyrants and wicked people who are oppressing Christians in Africa were secretly sponsoring the whole impeachment sham that Adam Schiff and Pelosi and Nadler were pursuing. Remember that I told you that it was all going to end in shame on their heads, and they did. I told you that Trump is going to be elected by a massive landslide, and he will. Watch out, because it's going to come. That's why God gave us Trump. Trump is our second chance, and we cannot be too foolish not to support him. That's why we have created an organization to pull all the Africans together to campaign for Trump from Africa. We will speak to all our brothers and sisters in America and tell them to bring out their vote, even if it's only 2% of the votes, the whole total votes cast. Let it be, let our own votes count, because this man has been good to us. He's a blessing to Africa. Donald J. Trump is our first black president. He's our brother. He needs to come and take a title from Igbo land. I love the man, and you should love him because he cares for us. He's fighting for us. We need to appreciate that and stop listening to the lies of CNN.